What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Stacks by the Numbers. And I spoke, I don't remember when it was, I don't know, sometime last week. I randomly mentioned when we were talking about ASTS that apparently a lot of these telecom companies all of a sudden recently started making announcements, right? We had the news about the contract extension with ASTS, and then we had the news about Verizon making an investment in ASTS, and then we had T-Mobile working with, I think it was US Cellular for like a $4 billion deal. But we forgot about Nokia Corporation, ticker symbol NOK, listed here on the New York Stock Exchange. Company rallied all the way back up to 402 a couple of weeks ago, and then you can see we dropped down to this fib level. We tried to retest this trend line again. Almost looks like we formed almost a bear hammer right now, so we might start pulling back a couple of cents, but they beat it up, right? They bring it down to sub $3. The earnings are light, and in my opinion, they take it out of the spotlight. They don't want it trending anymore. They want you to forget about it. And then all of a sudden, that's when the momentum picks up. And if we check out some of the recent news articles, you may be blown away because apparently a lot has been happening with Nokia just like the last month or two. And as we see, the stock has completely rebounded from new lows of 294 now up to 384, down 7 cents today, about 1.8%. But again, got back to this trend line on two separate occasions and broke above $4 recently and still above the 20-day moving average. So let's get into exactly what's going on. In my opinion, in the long term, I do still personally like Nokia. I know the earnings have been really kind of wishy-washy here. We can see big misses on the top and bottom lines. This was the last time we looked at it when these numbers came out, and we can see they did still post above that $6 billion mark, but they missed by about 9%, and they posted 10.8 cents a share on estimates of 12.5 cents. And then we can see last quarter as well, revenue taking a hit, missing by over 7% here, just posting shy, of about 5 billion. However, turned around the EPS side, and of course that gave a little momentum coming into the stock, and of course there was recent news to come out, so let's get into it. So as we see, Nokia demonstrates future of voice calls with 3D audio, boost network security against DDoS threats, immersive phone call, right? But excuse me, look at these deals here. Access Plus picks Nokia for broadband expansion in Massachusetts, US. Nokia enters partnership for transportation logistics technology research in India. Nokia bags infrastructure upgrade contract from Telehouse America. Now that was all within the last week, right? Now we go back into May and we can see Putin gives Rostelcom, I believe it is, my apologies, approval to buy Nokia out of the joint venture because there was to buy Nokia's stake in a software joint venture between the companies. Said in April 22 it would exit the Russian market after Moscow dispatched troops to Ukraine. Had become impossible. The business model had become impossible after Nokia left the Russian market. So transaction will be completed shortly, quote. Other details not being disclosed. So we'll potentially learn more about that maybe in the next couple of weeks. But I'm telling you, now that they beat it up to sub 3 and all of a sudden it's back to like slightly sub 4, kind of where it was, and it gained this momentum, you watch, mark my words, maybe inside of the next like week or two, all of a sudden they're going to be talking about Nokia on like CNBC, and they're going to bring some guy on who's going to talk about how great they're doing. Because again, in my opinion, that's the way they like to do it. That's why people like Warren Buffett say when other people are fearful and it seems like a struggle, that is when you strike, and that is when you buy those big dips, especially if you're able to hold for the longer term, right? If we're talking about, stepping in here at 290, buying like 350 calls, and it was a gamble, you didn't know how long it would take, that's obviously very understandable. That's what makes options trading so difficult. But if we're talking about a long-term investment, again, as you see, this is a company that, in my opinion, isn't really going anywhere, and they're also, we looked at it many months back, but they also said that by 2030, they were looking to basically revolutionize the entire industry and become like the industry leader. So supposedly, if this rebound is taking place and this restructuring is going to happen throughout years like 2024, 2025, then we might start to see the growth and might start to see the benefits of that restructuring start to come in 26, 27, 28. So for all we know, by 2030, it could be a completely different situation. We could be dealing with a powerhouse, but I already said how I feel about this in previous videos. Um, Nokia Global Fiber Peru deploy optical IP fiber broadband network in Amazon rainforest. Nokia close to winning 5G contract from Portugal's MEO. Nokia to receive 5G equipment supply contract in Portugal. Supply 5G. Partners Orange to boost 5G applications in Europe. They acquired the Phoenix Group to supposedly boost their kind of relationships and potential future contract signings with the U.S. defense sector, as it says here. Strategic move to bolster its commercial prospects in the U.S. defense sector. Okay. Integration, Phoenix Prime, Banshee family. Strengthen Nokia's portfolio, enabling it to offer an extensive suite of 3GPP-based solutions to its defense clients. October 21, Defense Innovation Unit selected Nokia and Phoenix for a mission to deploy ad hoc tactical private wireless communications. Committee Foreign Investment in the United States accentuates Nokia's commitment as a trusted provider of secure and innovative solutions to the U.S. federal government. That's what I mean. Europe's a big place, and they're basically one of the largest over there, right? There's a company based out of Finland, and that's why if this turmoil overseas with Russia kind of continues, Finland's kind of nearby. So if we have, that connection over there, this is what I mean. This is why again, a company like this, basically a brand name in the space, even though these telecom stocks, we see it even with companies like Verizon, right? We go like into these lulls, and then all of a sudden we start gaining this momentum, and we start hearing about all of these contracts, all of these extensions, and oh, now that they were selected for this contract, this situation. And this is exactly what's taking place here under our noses, really, for just the last month or two. Nokia apparently doing some big things here. Nokia well positioned for the ongoing technology cycle, given the strength of its end-to-end portfolio, which enables AirScale products, enables customers to upgrade to 5G quickly, is growing fast, driving the transition in global enterprise into smart digital networks, single network for all services, converging mobile and fixed broadband IP routing and optical networks with the software and services to manage them, state-of-the-art technology. Company aims to create new business licensing opportunities in the consumer ecosystem. Easy programmability, flexible automation. And again, now with the Phoenix Group, if they can expand even further into the defense sector, then, we see how companies like Palantir are benefiting from that sector. So obviously, if everything goes according to plan, this should work out very nicely. A lot of updates here on the Phoenix Group. Phoenix. Nokia executes framework agreement with Export-Import Bank. Just a lot of Europe can't lag behind in 5G technology. This is why I'm saying Nokia much more important than people might think. This is why, again, if we want to beat it up here in the short term because of some light numbers and some restructuring, very, very understandable. But in the longer term, in my opinion, it really should be fine. KT partners with Nokia to pioneer 6G research initiatives. South Korean telecom firm KT signed a memorandum of understanding with Finland-based telecom company Nokia for the research of a sixth-generation communications network. Two companies plan to develop an open radio access network and ultra-wideband wireless technologies. This initiative seeks to secure a leading position in the global 6G market, anticipated to emerge post-2030. What did they say? We could potentially be the front runner in the space by 2030. So now, if they're the first ones to hit the 6G market, right, we can potentially see the writing on the wall. Intuitive Machines, right? That was a trending stock. I know, going to the moon, set sights on second moon trip by late 2024. Lunar, right? LUNR. Plans another moon trip by the end of 24, aiming to install a 4G network on the lunar surface in partnership with Nokia. Quote, on our second mission, which will be the last quarter of the year, we are actually installing a 4G network on the surface of the moon. We are going to have 4G on the moon, and it is going to be Nokia. And everyone thought, right? Oh, if I take you back a year or two ago and I ask you, which telecom company would set up a network on the moon, you probably would have Nokia on the list, but it would be more towards the bottom, right? And now, boom, they're the ones that are working with intuitive machines, and that's expected again, potentially last quarter of 2024. So within the next several months. Sees rapid growth ahead in the space economy, AI, quantum computing. Nobody had anything to say. Okay. But basically, you can see Nokia Vodafone complete U.S. Open Radio Access Network trial. Mexico's Megacable. Nokia announced successful data transmission test and connectivity plan. Amazon enters Europe 5G networks. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nokia deploys standalone 5G core software in Germany with O2 Telefonica. Nokia to develop 5G network in Uzbekistan with Perfectum. Right? Look at this. All of this just since April. All of this just in the last couple of months. Yes, guidance looks challenging. Yes, we know this, right? We understand about the short-term obstacles and the hurdles and the short-term negativity that might have to be dealt with before we run into that long-term growth. And again, reminds me of what happened just like something with IBM, right? Now, IBM is kind of back in the spotlight. They're gaining some momentum. Stock almost hit 200. In my opinion, it's down here at 170. It probably should be back to 200 plus soon, given the next 1 to 2 quarters if they do happen to beat. But similar situation, right? IBM kind of had to just completely strip down the bulk of the company and just completely restructure and reposition themselves for the future, right? And they went into this 5, 6 year lull, and now all of a sudden, that's what I mean, they're back in the spotlight. So that's why, again, it might be we're talking a significant longer term hold. I understand we're looking like 5 plus years out right now. However, chances are a lot of you will still be here, right? Most of you probably will still be working, running your business, looking to invest. So that's why, if we can see what can potentially be coming several years down the road, then it might be worth it to start buying on these sell-offs and during this lull cycle, which could potentially turn out to be the low of the lows if we look back, 4 or 5 years from now. But of course, that's all speculation. But backdrop improving, but uncertain. But yeah, overall, I just wanted to show expects rebound in second half of 24 following 19% drop in first quarter sales. So supposedly the second half of the year is looking to be better than the first half of the year. But again, just looking at all of those recent news articles, new deals, new trials, positive data that came in just over the last couple of months, this is why, again, the company went from the bottom of the bottoms, basically back to that main key level of our line is 396, right? This was the original level that we spoke about. We broke below it, and then I said maybe this quarter we can get above it. It pops early, right? Tries to get above it, drops down. Then we pop up above this resistance level, drop down, but then we're stepping back up higher. So technically still looking good, and also we can do this as well. What is the low here? 294, and we can just draw across like that, right? So if we do start to sell off, maybe about 355, so it looks like this is our almost from the new year. This looks like this is now our support trend line, and we could be just kind of bouncing around in here. And it could go all the way out till the end of 24, right? As you see, bottom of the screen, October 2024, potentially, as we approach this apex. However, this would, probably potentially form an ascending triangle, and then we could maybe pop up and out and hold that $4+ range and probably make new 52-week highs if everything goes according to plan. But of course, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's look at stock charts real quick before I let you go. I don't want to beat this to death. Here on the daily, RSI middle of the road, about 51.5. Almost formed the bear hammer, right? If it closed at the low of the day, we have our long stick with our little hammer at the end. So that would have been a bear hammer that drops it down. But you can see that as we've been on the up and up and holding the top half of the Bollinger Band, you can see the bottom Bollinger Band trumpeted out and is now curling and climbing up bigly. And now we're starting to get that tightening taking taking place. So again, with all of the recent news that came out, yes, we could sell off back and retest one of these moving averages even. We can see here 200-day 353, right? Support trend line was what, around like 355, so that might happen. But overall, again, I think that it's probably has a good chance, I'll say, to break higher and stay up. But again, with this tightening taking place, we could drop down just a few cents here to 377, and then we can start bouncing and heading back to high threes, potentially four again. MACD almost crossed back to the upside, right? Had a slight rejection, pulled back here, but we'll see. Last time it popped below the mid Bollinger Band here, couple of weeks ago, we can see we popped right back up above it and ran to the top Bollinger Band. So we can see now we can rebound and bounce from here and reclaim this mid Bollinger Band and potentially get back to $4 a share. So we'll see. Let's check the weekly real quick. 58 and a third on the RSI. Yeah, and you can see we were riding high here on the top Bollinger Band, so we had a little chunk down today. And even coming here, 50-day moving average on the weekly, 358. Mid Bollinger Band 363, right? So maybe like that 355, 360 range could be potentially where the stock pulls back to pause for a second. And then, in my opinion, it should really take the next leg higher to 4 plus and could be trying to get back to this 200-day moving average, which, you know, has been pretty quiet here over the last couple of years, looks relatively flat. But if we get back above that 431 200-day moving average on the weekly, that'll be the first time since the first half of 2023 that the stock would be above that moving average. And then in my opinion, that's when they'll probably shine a light on it again, and we might be able to bring it up into the high fours, potentially fives, going off of that bullish momentum closing above the moving average. But I'm going to end it there because I probably spoke for too long. So once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel, right? And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that these markets are rocky, they're volatile, they are very, very uncertain. Nice car going by. But at the end of the day, I want to wish everybody success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for your time. You guys have a good day.